much for joining us. We are thrilled with our creative team and with our cast. We have gotten the chance to peek into rehearsals, and they are doing an amazing job with this amazing show. And we are very excited to be sharing it with all of you in just 2 weeks.
So first of all, I apologize that you're witnessing like the world's most awkward boy band moment. But just to echo what Rob said, all of us, we've been talking about this show for a very long time. We love this show very deeply. And as we learned when the announcement happened, so does the community. And it has been so amazing to see the excitement about this production and doing it really in the way that the show was intended to be. Small, intimate, everything that it was written to be.
First of all, thank you all for coming this evening. A number of you have said to me over the last few weeks, why Little Shop? Why Off-Broadway? Why now? And I want to tell you a little bit about the origins of this production that Rob, Hunter, and I have been working on for quite a long time. We have Alan Menken, Sarah Gillespie, and Bill Loud here. They're going to be talking with Michael Mayer in a little while. But I have a very personal attachment to Little Shop of Horrors. I moved to New York in 1981, and on July 7th, in the New York Times was the first article about a disease called gay-related immune deficiency. And I was working at NYU Medical Center at the time, where I worked for my entire undergraduate education at NYU. And through the mid-'80s, I used to walk down 2nd Avenue past the Orpheum Theater. And I discovered, in my mind, this amazing little show called Little Shop of Horrors. And I was doing very difficult work at the time. I was a gay man struggling to find my identity in the world and looking to the generation in front of me and seeing them being decimated. And there was this healing balm in the East Village on 2nd Avenue in a small theater that celebrated life and musical theater and comedy and all of the possibilities of what the form could be. And I fell in love with the show, as probably everyone in this room has. What we've learned over the last few months is everybody has a Little Shop story. I would venture to guess that a third of you have been in productions of Little Shop at some point in your lives or worked backstage. We all felt a deep sense of responsibility to the material. And when we met with the authors and Howard's family, with Alan and Howard's family, we learned from them that it was their belief that Little Shop needed to be honored in the way that it was written. And they had very specific thoughts about how best to go about doing that. And it was a rare instance where the producers said, the producers being us, said, we agree with you. We don't want to move this to Broadway. We don't care if we're seduced by great reviews or great ticket sales. This belongs off-Broadway in a home that honors its roots. And Vivacity, I know you're very proud of me for using roots right now. And so we set about doing this production, and from the start, we all knew that Michael Mayer was the exact right director for this project. And we had a fantasy cast, and here's the deal. When you have Jonathan Groff, Christian Borle, and Tammy Blanchard, it's hard to say, listen, it's 270 seats, We don't want to insult you with what the compensation package is going to be. And by the way, everyone fantasizes about going to Broadway. It's never going to happen. So if that's your fantasy, let's destroy your dreams right now. And they all said, no, we get it. That's how it should be done. We're willing to make that sacrifice because we love the material. And spend 5 minutes in the rehearsal room, and this incredible company, this cast, this crew, everyone involved with the production. I was saying to the authors earlier, when you sit in a rehearsal room and no one's on their devices, if they're not on stage, you know they love the material. You know everyone in the room loves the material. And that's everyone involved with this production is in love with Little Shop. But no one more than the three of us. We feel so privileged to be a part of birthing Little Shop into the world in 2019 in an intimate setting where it belongs. And I'm talking way too much. You're much more interested in our incredible author. So without further ado, Howard Ashman's sister, Sarah Gillespie. Howard Ashman's partner, Bill Lau. The amazing Alan Menken. And our fearless leader, the incredible Michael Mayer.
I'm sorry, Michael, make you fun of me. That's good. Sure? Yeah, because then I'm like, yeah, okay. All right. So I'm gonna, this is like my little, my fantasy of my talk show. And I'd like to open with a number. We'll do Chicago. No. So, well, one of the things that in working on this piece, one thing that has really puzzled me, and I don't know that I've ever heard the actual origin story of it, but why that movie, that Roger Corman movie from 1960, which is arguably the best thing about it is Jack Nicholson makes his debut, and it's a really weird.
Yeah, it's a very strange piece. Well, the movie is. Look, it was Howard's. Howard and I had met doing God Bless the Peace of Oprah. And following God Bless the Peace of Oprah, we had two projects we were working on. One was our Elliot Rosewater looked like Babe Ruth in this red coffin. We were looking at a Babe Ruth musical, and then Howard said he had this weird Corman movie that he always loved, all the way back to college or even earlier, high school thing. He said, you got to look at this. And I looked at it and I go, oh. I mean, it was just perfect. It was so bad, it was good, but it also, it had so many elements in it that were great. And we took a stab at it that was very sort of Corman-esque in style. And feed me and I thought, people listened to it and they really thought we, had two heads. And then Howard came in with the idea, but this would be the dark side of Greece. And it's a wing at those horror movies, and Peach Blanket horror movies, right? And it just all came together. But yes, this came from the kishkas of Howard Ashman, and brilliantly so.
Okay. Speaking of the kishkas of Howard Ashman, you share kishkas. Yes, I'm talking to you.
Well,
I'm his sister.
Don't we have enough kishkas?
I'm not going
What is
to
kishkas?
No, kishkas are your guts.
Yeah, it's not gender related. So you've got mishpucha.
We have the thesaurus of Howard Ashman, the Schrilkes of Howard Ashman.
And like, one of my questions was, in that moment when you and Howard were growing up, so was in Baltimore, so was John Waters, so was Divine. What was happening? What was in the water in Maryland? There was a very specific, imaginative kind of.
I do think Baltimore is just slightly off kilter. And I actually wonder if part of it doesn't have to do with it's very schizophrenic. It's not quite southern, it's not quite northern, it's not quite, it's kind of its own thing. There's also, I mean, I guess, you know, there's a very large Jewish community percentage-wise, and that community is a very creative community. And I do think, I can't speak much on Waters, but I think Howard came from this community of very creative people, you know, and I
But
think
twisted.
twisted in their own special way.
There's
Yeah.
also a lot of, you look at Barry Levinson,
Yeah.
you know, there is a Baltimore soul, you
Yeah,
know.
I think Barry Levinson actually followed us around and just basically based on Jack Farrell, my family, but you know, but yeah, there really is. I just think it's an off-kilterness that, and maybe it's because of being a small city.
Right.
It's a,
Okay, but I find it so interesting.
Yeah.
Because there is a kind of aesthetic that I think is shared by those early John Waters films and the performances that you see there and a relationship to the sort of the campy Roger Corman stuff, and that's in Little Shop. So another question I have is, when Howard was growing up, did he start making work as a writer or as a director? Because he was brilliant at both.
he really just made theater, and that started very young, and it started with backyard musicals, and sometimes he wrote a brilliant 10-year-old production of Little Admiral's Pork Chops. He also did a production of Gypsy, in which he actually, this is true and very sad, he fired the girl down the street who wasn't a good enough Gypsy. It wasn't playing Gypsy, and he actually did the striptease himself. He put up a scrim with, my mother never had any sheets, she could never throw any sheets because he would just make scrims. Because, Howard was just, and he, showed him how it was done. He was towels and,
Amazing.
Yeah, but it was just nobody there could do it as well as he knew he could do it, and he just liked making theater. It didn't really matter whether he was writing it or performing it when he was younger or directing it. He just wanted to make theater.
One of the things that people might want to check out is the documentary that Tom Kirdahy directed. It's going to be streaming, I think, starting this fall, right?
Oh, great.
It's called Howard. It'll be on the Disney streaming service. And it's a documentary that really tells Howard's story. And it's fascinating. Some of the things that the photos, the stories.
Any photos of him doing his gypsy?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. What? Oh no, that's not the striptease. I'm sorry. There was one of them in a turban.
Yes, well, yeah, because but I actually really did wonder what my parents thought, because everybody applauded. It was a good striptease.
Quality wins out every time. And Bill, when you first met Howard, what work had he done at that point?
Had he done?
Yeah, that you knew him.
Well, he had written Rosewater with Alan. He had written a play called The Confirmation,
Right.
which was semi-autobiographical. He had done a few other projects, Dream Stuff. I think he had directed.
No, he just
wrote
wrote the book.
Just wrote the book and Dream Stuff. But at the time I met him, he was preparing the first national tour of Little Shop. It had been running for about a year and a half. And luckily, I had seen the show. I went in the summer of 1982 to see Little Shop at the Orpheum. And so when I met him in February of '84, I knew what he did. I said, what'd you do? I direct theater. He said, oh, would you do anything I might have seen? Little Shop of Horrors? Oh! I saw that. I think he's fantastic. So he was, at that time, putting together the national tour and had just begun work on the screenplay for the film, right?
Yes.
Early 84,
Yeah.
you were still in its infancy.
Yeah, it is.
At that
Yeah,
point.
it was a couple of years ago.
But by the summer, you were writing songs, you were pitching things for
We
the
wrote-
Devon team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We must have written about 7 songs for the film before finally being remodelled.
Right. Wow. How did you decide at that time not to move that show to Broadway in the 80s? Like, how did, like, in that,
Howard
Be a
said
Broadway
no.
Yeah, I mean, the Schuberts and David Geffen were these, come on, move it to Broadway, with a great season for them, and Howard said, no way. There's elements of the show that will just look wrong on Broadway. They don't. It's part of the ethos of the piece that it sits in this kind of dingy theater, and there was actually that was also part and parcel of a lot of what was happening during that time. At the time I was also doing a show, actually a vehicle for Divine, but talk about Baltimore, Latina Evil Queen of the Galaxy. We're with Michael Bennett, and we were looking at broken down theaters where there were like literally rats running down the hall. And we said, listen, we should do it here and keep the rats. Of course, Equity said, no. But yeah, there was not a serious intention to bring the book.
and it was just amazing. And I have to say that's what was appealing to me. And I think when we're in rehearsal, I think we feel that intimacy and the sense of connection. We went over and looked at the theater yesterday, and it's really looking great. And it reminds me, it's not quite the bowling alley that the Orpheum was, or it is, I guess it's still there, but it's still, you feel like, I know when Julian Crouch, our set designer, went to look at it, and he went over and he said, oh my God, this really does feel like the right period, and you walk in and...
Do we have rats?
No, but I will tell you something. They walked over and had to step over some wino number 1 or derelict number 2. It was very nice. It was right there. I mean, it's really what it's going to be. Alan, you've collaborated with lots of different lyricists over the years. What would you say that really distinguished working with Howard?
Howard was and is the mother lode. I mean, he is. And there is not a lyricist I work with who doesn't freely acknowledge that they follow in Howard's footsteps and they feel blessed to be in Howard's footsteps. Howard, he understood how to use musical vocabularies and stylistic vocabularies in a dramatic way so that it both forwarded story, but it was also, it brought in an homage to a time, to a sensibility, and it just elevated. It elevated Little Shop, it elevated Little Mermaid, and Beauty, and Aladdin, and one of the, there are things. There's still a treasure trove. There's that musical smile that he did with Marvin Hamlin. And I remember we were doing a D23 show, and they said. Marvin had just died. I said, I think it would be great if I sang Disneyland from Smile, which is Howard and Marvin together, as an homage to both of them. And I had never sung it. And I put, a lyric of Howard's in front of me, and it was the first time in, I don't know how many, 20 years maybe, that I'd sat with a new Howard Ashman, for me, here in front of me, and it was more of his music, but I was going to make it sort of my own in terms of, and that sensibility of the first time reading through a Howard Ashman lyric and setting it, I broke down. Because I missed that so much. And I've worked with incredible lyricists. Right. But a Howard Ashman lyric just opens up a door that's deeper. And you know, the longer he's gone, the more we all appreciate how brilliant he was.
What we feel it in rehearsal, I have to say, like this show is such an unbelievable masterpiece of economy and brilliance and
oh yeah,
it's
I also say
unbelievable. It really is.
If we open up the stock and amateur, first it was Samuel Fritz, then it was MTI, Institute International. Open up the stock and amateur version of the script. You cannot open to one page that doesn't have those capital letters of a song being sung. It threads through that tightly.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
You can tell I'm not the pro. Howard always kind of said, even wanting, but just 10 minutes too short, not 20 minutes too long. And I think that the economy in those shops, and some beautiful songs that wound up not used, because they didn't work. They weren't necessary to bring the show to its natural.
Yeah, we had
to bring that up.
Treasure trove. Yeah, we had We'll Have Tomorrow.
A little bit of that remains.
Yes, we'll have them. Yes, we left a little wink of that. There was a little dental music. Oh, little dental music.
Oh, right.
I don't feel that thrilling, nothing violence, and calming nerves while steps away. The beast is thrilling. And the urchins were singing that while waiting in the waiting room. But we didn't need it.
Right.
And yeah, so for the movie, we left a ton of stuff on the cutting floor. But it was always fun.
Speaking of the dentist, Alan, you told us a little story about your personal relationship to that profession.
When we wrote Little Shop, one of the dilemmas was we couldn't figure out how Seymour would commit the first murder. In the movie, Seymour is on a bridge and he's frustrated and he throws a bottle and it hits a bum and first meal for what we do. But that wasn't going to work on a Broadway stage, or an off-Broadway stage, or any stage. So how are we going to have this happen? We already knew we had the dentist boyfriend, and he's a sadistic dentist. I grew up in a family, all the men in my family are dentists. All of them. My grandfather was a dentist, my father was a dentist, my father's brother was a dentist, my mother's sister's husband was a dentist, my father's sister was a dentist. All dentists. Cousins are dentists. And my dad, and this is the truth, absolute truth, my dad was the president of the New York chapter of the American Analgesia Society, a society of dentists that promote the use of nitrous oxide as safe. So, with that aside, we said, how about, because Seymour can't simply go in there and kill the dentist, how about the dentist likes to give himself the nitrous oxide so he really enjoys inflicting the pain, and somehow he overdoses on it. And Howard said, that's hilarious, let's do that. One of the rare instances where I was actually able to suggest to Howard, well done, Alan. And then I get a call from my mother afterwards, which I ignored, and the phone rings and, hi, Alan. We heard the tape. Oh, okay. And Janet said, I think your mother is just so moved. I said, I don't think so. And I called back and said, well, how would you feel if you spent your life promoting views of nitrous oxide is safe? And that's what we opened the thing for him. We were a big hit, and then all those like, Seymour, this could happen to you. My dad's patience. He had to turn around. Normie, you'd have to believe in a plant that needs people if you have to believe that. So they were fine.
I just want to wrap up just by saying that how grateful the company is for that you guys are entrusting this wonderful work with us. I've never had a better time working on anything. I think this company is delicious. I'm in love with everyone, and I think everyone's in love with everyone. It was really an incredibly good time. So we're all very stoked to talk to all of you in our one-on-one things, right? That's what's next. Is that it? All right. And anything else I need to say? Thank you all so much.